What's up everybody, Ryco here. Today, we're going to be going over post-Legacy of Destruction. That's right, we still have a little over a month to go until the set officially releases in the TCG, but as I'm sure many of you all know, there's quite a few impactful cards that come out in Legacy of Destruction that will alter the game. Will Fire be the best deck? Probably, especially since they're getting more support. But the playing field is definitely going to even out a bit more as other decks are going to get support as well, and it's going to help raise them quite a bit to be able to finally compete with that $1,000 deck. Before we jump into this, thank you all so much for your support. Make sure to smack the like and subscribe button because you guys are all awesome. Thank you all so much. And with that, let's just quickly jump in. There are plenty of decks that are going to be getting new support, and there's some new decks being introduced. Some of the most notable support cards being, yes, Fire is getting their anti-spell monster, and they're getting a new level 8 that can summon itself from the spell zone. So essentially Fire is going to get a bit better. But there's another deck that gets insane support coming out this set, post Legacy of Destruction, and that's Voiceless Voice. That's right, that Ritual Towers deck that's almost impossible to break any board, they're going to be getting better. What are they getting? Well, they're essentially getting tools within their archetype to have infinite recycle and being able to add back lights every turn from the grave. So yes, you can add back Effect Veiler, you can add back the rituals, you can add back essentially whatever you need. The deck is going to have a lot better of a grind game, and they'll be able to push through hand traps a bit more. Another deck that's going to be getting really good support, unironically, is Centurion. Well, yes, Calamity is still legal. Will Konami take care of it? Maybe. But if they don't, Centurion's going to be very powerful, especially because of the new synchro. They'll be able to play Shifter. Yes, everyone's favorite card, Shifter. Centurion can now Calamity lock you and Shifter you. Isn't that fun? But anyway, jokes aside, that deck is definitely going to be very powerful. Expect to see it a bit more, especially as the price cools off a bit. Some other decks that are getting new support are Lightsworn. Lightsworn's going to be really good. Yes, it does lose to Shifter still, and while people are targeting Fire, a lot of those hand traps will affect Lightsworn as well. But Lightsworn can put up some crazy boards, and being able to banish your opponent's entire grave is not something to scoff at. So be prepared to see some Lightsworn duelists come out of their caves ready with their new support and ready to go. That deck's definitely going to be kind of frightening. The next deck that's getting quite a bit support is Melodious. Now, this is a deck I'm personally excited for, as it was one of the first decks I got into coming into this game, but the support's actually surprisingly powerful. The deck essentially will become a one-card combo deck that can main deck a bunch of non-engine. As we know, especially in this format, main decking non-engine is really powerful, especially a bunch of hand traps, and Melodious can do just that. Also, a lot of the Melodious cards are really broken if you read them, so essentially setting up full board with Melodious is going to be very hard to climb over, and will definitely take a lot of wins. For the next deck, which is actually going to be a new deck, we've got Tenpai. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen the OCG already, but Tenpai has come in shaking up the meta. It's, as of now, the second most represented deck, just behind Fire King, which obvious, Fire is still Fire, it's still going to be really good. But Tenpai is absolutely fantastic, being able to OTK through Prosperity. That's right, OTK through Prosperity, being able to put around 37,000 damage on the board is ridiculous. And yes, it's an OTK deck, but it's not really gimmicky because although it's an OTK deck, they have a field spell that's essentially just better Miscellaneousaurus. Yes, that one card that made all of your dinos unaffected, they have a field spell that makes all of your Tenpais unaffected. Plus the field spell can search you whatever Tenpai you need. So that deck's going to be really good. Expect to see a lot of it, but make sure you have your Fuchos as well, because they can't really OTK you if you put up a Fucho. Just be prepared for that. For the next deck, it's an older deck, but it's getting new support. I wanted to mention it. Ancient Gear. Ancient Gear can definitely OTK you out of nowhere, similar to Tenpai, but can't nearly put up as much damage. But their new support's actually pretty good. So be prepared to see some Ancient Gear duelists here and there, and you better know what the cards do, or else you'll probably get steamrolled. And then finally, the last archetype I really wanted to talk about that's going to be completely new in this set is Ryco. Now, similar to the whole Beast Warrior archetype where it's a multitude in one archetype, it's the same thing with Ryco, except it's plants, insects, and I believe reptiles. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure those are the three. Rycos are going to be really, really unique in that they're going to bolster those 3 types exponentially. You can throw it into Rika, you can throw it into Ogdoadic, you can throw it into insects, just your bee pile, your bee trooper pile. Nonetheless, that archetype's definitely going to be pretty cool, and although the first support isn't super overwhelming, if their second wave is any good, that deck is going to be quite frightening, and you're going to want to pick up the stuff. So, all in all, if you look at the OCG right now, yes, it's still fire, followed by Tenpai, and then Voiceless Voice is definitely doing crazy things. But there's a much wider range of decks that are still topping and still doing well, even though it's fire format. And that's pretty different than how it is right now post Phantom Nightmare. So what's going to be cool about Legacy of Destruction is, although the best deck will still be the best deck, other decks will be able to compete with it more, and it's going to be decks we haven't seen in the meta for a while. So that's going to be really, really cool. All in all, given the fact that Maxi is not here in the TCG, but it is legal in the OCG, some of these heavier combo decks are going to be doing a lot better here. So if you look at something like Melodious, where it kind of folds under Maxi, but out here in the TCG without Maxi, you can essentially just freely combo unless your opponent hand traps you to death, obviously. But that's essentially with any deck. If you play Melodious, you'll also have a bunch of non-engine to hand trap your opponent right back. Speaking of hand traps, there are a few hand traps that I wanted to mention in this video as well that you might want to consider picking up or make sure you have going into the next format. One of these hand traps is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, although it's not the best card right now, with the introduction of Legacy of Destruction, it's going to become a lot better. Hitting the Tenpai field spell will be very, very huge and will be very hurtful against the Tenpai strategy. Being able to use that will essentially make all of their monsters, all of their Tenpai monsters, affected by card effects, which, you know, interacting with your opponent is fun. So Ghost Ogre will definitely come up. It also hurts Voiceless Voice, and depending on when you use it, it can hurt fire as well. All in all, Ghost Ogre is looking to be a solid card. Another card that I kind of wanted to talk about was Retaliating Sea. Yeah, Retaliating Sea. There's quite a few spells in this meta that special summon. So whether it be fire, whether it be Voiceless Voice, whether it be Melodious that's coming out, I don't know if Tenpai has one, but I'm pretty sure they might have one. Don't quote me on that, but they might have one. All in all, Retaliating Sea can look to be really, really good because yes, Shifter is going to be very, very powerful still. So having essentially Retaliating Sea, which is not locking you out of 2 turns of using the grave, but can stop your opponent at the right point, it's going to be very strong. And people still will be playing Branded as well. And so being able to Retaliating Sea to at least slow them down can definitely be very, very strong. Well, all in all, yes, Fire is going to be the best deck. And Voiceless Voice is probably going to be the second best deck, unless Tenpai performs exceptionally well out here, similar to the OCG. But if you're looking at it, a lot of decks, they're going to be really, really viable. And we're going to start seeing a wider spread of decks and not just the 82% fire that we're seeing right now. So I don't know about you all. I'm definitely looking forward to Legacy of Destruction format. But I want to know what you all think. Are you all excited for Legacy of Destruction format? Or would you prefer the format to be similar to how it is now? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts, especially given that Legacy of Destruction is about a month and a half away. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.